So thank you for being with us today. I know you have lots of choices in this virtual world that we're living in that's kind of hybrid in times and places, and not, So we're delighted you chose to be here with us. And I want to thank especially the people who came out to participate in the envisioning practice these last couple of days. And I look forward to seeing what we choose to bring in to this new year, 2022. So today I'm going to talk about what it does, which is another way to say what the divine creative spirit has already made available to each one of us. Next week, I'm going to talk about how to use it. Sounds simple, right? I'll begin at the beginning. What's going on in this chapter? Dr. Holmes wrote, "Divine mind is infinite. It contains all knowledge and wisdom, but before it can reveal its secrets, it must have an outlet." He wrote, and I'm paraphrasing now, "All of life is its outlet, including humans." Now I'm back to quoting Holmes. The next bit in the book is in all capitals, so it's like he was yelling at us. And so we'd notice. Page 40, paragraph 3. What we draw from it, we must draw through our own minds. A unity must be established and a conscious connection made before we can derive the benefits which the greater mind is willing to reveal or impart to us. So far, so good, right? We get that part. The divine contains everything within itself, and we can grok, to borrow a word from Robert Heinlein's Stranger in a Strange Land, or we can truly, deeply, and profoundly comprehend only what we allow ourselves to know. Then what? On page 41, paragraph 2, Holmes writes, "The universal mind is equally available to all, and it's impersonal." Good, we like that. Nobody's left out. Everybody has equal access. Everybody's included. Well, I don't know about you, but I'm starting to get a little suspicious. What's the catch? On the bottom of 41, page 41, and the top of 42, Dr. Holmes wrote, "We have made a riddle out of simplicity. We have not read the sermons in stones, nor interpreted the light of love running through life. The divine incarnation is inherent in our nature. How much of this reality are we going to express in our lives?" Oh, that. There's the rub. We're always using it. We're already using it, whether we know it or not, whether we're doing it consciously or unconsciously. God in us, as us, expresses through us already. It's a given. It has already been given. So what it does is give. It's up to us to receive it. So what does this God nature do? It continuously sets creation in motion. Part of this creative potential is automatic. Seasons, planets, movements, full moons, eclipses, waves, etc. In the same way you brush your teeth or drive your car. You know how to do it. You don't have to think about it. You don't have to pay attention. Your hands know what to do. You've already put it into automatic pilot. Some of what the divine has put in motion is effectively on automatic pilot. We don't have to think about it. The divine doesn't have to expend any energy in having it happen because it's already put in motion. An acorn doesn't have to decide to become an oak tree. It's built in. Dr. Holmes wrote on page 46, "We are surrounded by infinite possibility. It is goodness, life, law, and reason. In expressing itself through us, it becomes more fully conscious of its own being. Therefore, it wishes to express through us. As it passes into our being, it automatically becomes the law of our lives. On page 131 and 132 in the text, he wrote, "Spirit thinks and knows within itself. And as a result of this interaction, it's all happening inside. Creation manifests. Creation is a play of life on itself through divine self-imagination. Spirit must create in order to be existent." Nope, I misread a line. Spirit must create in order to be expressed. Spirit, life, soul, substance, law, and unity are all coexistent and co-eternal with each other. The only thing that changes is form. The only thing that changes is form. Spirit makes things out of itself by becoming the thing it makes. There is no effort in the process. So far, this doesn't sound too threatening, right? I mean, who doesn't like to create? What are we doing when we create? We're making change happen in the world. And we're either making change happen to our liking, what we want to create, or we're making change happen according to what we're afraid, what we're fearful might happen. Oh, there's the catch. We're always creating. We can't help it. We're divine just like God is. And we decide whether to create to our benefit or to our detriment. We've already been given the gift of creation. And we get to decide how to use it. That's the hook. That's the place where it is a little tricky, because we have to decide how to use this gift that's already been given. And this is the good news. It's all form. It's all effect. It's all changeable. Our entire experience is a construct. We made it up. It's temporary. It's changeable. And we hold the magic key or sword or secret word or whatever you want to call it, where we have the power to pick differently. So this is the place in today's reminder where I'm supposed to talk about creating effective affirmations and how we imagine and generate those positive, constructive sentences that describe how we'd feel about the good that we choose to manifest. But before I do that, I want to talk a couple minutes about some thoughts that arose in the community envisioning practice this week and that we did. If you weren't there, you'll be able to read the synopsis of the activities in this week's electronic newsletter. What popped up mostly were three big ideas. One, and I think this is really interesting and important after the last 2 years that we've had, how can we have more fun as a community? Spirit creates for joy. Spirit is love. It creates for the fun of it. How can we have more fun individually and as a community? Number two, how can we attract more and a more diverse group of people to come play with us in our community? And three, how do we create a better experience for those attending in person and for those watching on live stream once we're back in person in our newly discovered, not quite fully landed Sunday location? Yes, the board has approved a new Sunday location for us. It's a rented space for Sundays only. We have some technical and logistical issues to work out yet, and a contract to sign before we can say much more about it, or decide when we're going to start exactly. The space holds about 100. which means 45 to 60 with physical distancing, which is more than we've had on a Sunday in a Sunday service for a while, so it'll do for now. There is a space for a youth program once we learn how to do it safely. And there's a separate space for pre-service meditation. And if you've got questions after the service, you can hang out and the board will hang out with us and we'll talk about what we can share about this new space, if you wish. So now I want to grab your attention and take it back to those other two big ideas that came out of the visioning practice. How can we have more fun as a community? How can we express and explore and feel exuberant about life? Because it hasn't been all that much fun lately, right? And then how can we attract more and more diverse playmates, people to come play with us? And when I looked at the notes from last year's envisioning, I realized none of us imagined, none of us could even begin to imagine that we'd spend another year, an entire year, virtually. And living through our phones and our tablets and our computers and, in our homes. And mostly we have. So how do we have more fun? As individuals and as our community, or as subsets or subgroups of our community, how do we celebrate life and become more present, more mindful, as Maria said in the meditation this morning? And how do we become more alive in our world while staying conscious of our present moment experience? Life has given us the gift. How do we choose to express it? How do we want to feel? What actions do we want to take to support this feeling that we want? Some of us are already really crystal clear about this and are living just fine, regardless of the apparent constraints. And some of us are finding it a little challenging to deal with continuously changing uncertainties and instabilities. And I expect most of us are finding it challenging sometimes. What tools do we have in our toolbox? Meditation for grounding and centering and staying present without getting caught up or staying caught up in the swirl of the moment. Affirmations for reminding ourselves about the good we claim for ourselves. And as you know, affirmations work best when they're positive, when we believe they're possible, and when they move us in the direction we want to go. There's a quote from Story People that says, "I am not a dork" is not a good affirmation. That doesn't support the experience I want. It's a little bit on the wrong side, right? Affirmations work best when they move us in the direction we choose to go. And then for those tough, chewy bits that are hard to imagine and hard to wrap our minds around, and we don't believe we can achieve, we have another tool in our toolbox. And many of you are trained, if not adept, in doing them. And these are spiritual mind treatments. And an important piece, prayer partners. Because sometimes we're so far into our garbage thinking, we can't get out. And we can't see that higher truth. But our prayer partners, or our prayer line, or talking to a prayer practitioner, gives us that handhold that we need to have to move ourselves past the impenetrable thicket that we find ourselves in. So we have all of these different tools that we can access, that we can grab hold of and use to move us back into that wholeness that is the truth of our being, because the gift is already given, right? And we have to remember to grab a hold of the tools that we have and use them. So lastly, I want you to think about the question, because it's a really good question. How can we attract more and a more diverse group of people to play with, to come visit our community, to come participate in our activities? And some of this delivery falls on the Sunday celebration services team, but most of it doesn't. Chris Wheeler said it best on Saturday when he said, in this philosophy, the science of mind thing, we've got a trick as good as any Jedi mind trick, except it's real. And I was trying to find a picture that I remember seeing. George Lucas, when he was writing the Star Wars trilogies, there's a picture of him standing in front of a bookcase in his house. And on the shelf behind him is a copy of The Science of Mind. Okay? So I won't say we're the origin because it's not us. This idea that we control our reality by the way we choose to engage it is built in to this teaching. And the rest of the world sees it like it's a fancy, Jedi mind trick. And yet it's not. It's true. It's accessible. It's available. And we know how to do it. We have to do it, though. So here's the challenge. I want you to think about how you have benefited from this teaching, how you have grown, how you have experienced what other people would call miracles because of your engagement in this practice. This is the chewy bit, right? How would you share that with somebody else? In the traditional Christian churches, we would call them testimonials. We need a new word for that because we don't do that around here. One of the things that Sharon said in the envisioning thing was, we do attraction, not promotion. And as Richard Bach, a good, if not practicing Christian Scientist, wrote, and as Ernest Holmes wrote, like attracts like. How do we show who we are to attract those who are like us or who want to be like us? How do we shine our lights? How do we share this awareness that we have, this gift that we've been given that we recognize and can use? Way back when, September of 2016, Karen Keister, who was a member of our center at the time, made a short video in which she talked about what it was like for her to find her tribe, which was us, and to recognize she was among people who thought like she did. This sounds really familiar, right? Since then, she's moved away twice or 3 times, and she now lives in Albuquerque. But her video and her statement of practice, of what it's like to practice this teaching and recognize community when she sees it, is on our YouTube channel. It's been there since September of 2016. It's been viewed 70 times. We haven't done anything to publicize it. It's hanging out there. And while I'm talking about our YouTube channel, we have 90 subscribers, which means 90 people have said they want to be notified when a new video gets posted. After we have 100 subscribers, YouTube will give us our own channel with our own name on it. So it's not just this mystery bunch of letters. It actually says Center for Spiritual Living, Tucson. It makes us easier to find. So why would we want to attract other people to join us? not just because it improves the quality of their lives, because it certainly has improved the quality of ours, right? But also because we'd have more people to celebrate with and more people to do fun things with. Seriously, I'll be reaching out to some friends of mine who know how to make quality videos and quality presentations to help us in a training or a workshop, to show us tricks and techniques and tools to make videos that we wouldn't mind sharing individually on our YouTube channel or perhaps even on Instagram, so that we don't have to learn it the hard way. We can take advantage of knowledge that other people have. So stay tuned and think about what you would share. Think about how you would share how this teaching has improved the quality of your life. If it has. If it has. I think it probably has. So I'm going to close with some words from Mike Dooley. Probably. Not necessarily, but probably. The shortest distance between here and there, between today and the life of your wildest dreams, runs through joy. As much of it as you can possibly stir up. But that's only if you're in a hurry. If you really want to take your time, there's always boredom, impatience, and decaf. So decide how you want to be in the world. Remember, the gift already has been given to you, and you get to decide what to do with it. That is the sweet spot we sit in. That is the amazing realization of what life is and can be for each one of us. Grab a hold of it as you wish. And if not, there's always decaf. Choose. Bless yourself and bless us all. Thank you. So I want to roll into the prayer. And if I've given you something useful to think about, grab a hold of it while I speak these words of affirmation. I live in the space of love and joy and peace and harmony and delight. I recognize the great goodness that already has been given to me and to all. And I recognize that I get to choose what I do with that. I get to choose how I wish to be in the world, as does every single beloved. Whether I know them or not, whether they know it or not, each one already has received this gift of life, this gift of possibility and joy and love and laughter and ease. And each one has that ability, that chance, that choice to live in this space of expansion and expression and delight. So I choose for me, because that's all I can choose for. I choose for me joy. I choose for me delight. I choose for me expansive good. And I know each one has that same opportunity and that same ability to choose to live this life in fullness and delight. Oh, what a great way to be. What a sweet spot to live in. So I rest in this, and I know there's no chore or task or duty or obligation in this. Nobody's got to do nothing they don't want to. It's no struggle. It's no challenge. It's no battle. It's a gift that's given and we get to accept. So I accept this goodness and I relax into the ease and the flow of it. And I know only good and more good for each and all, and I let it be. And so it is.